today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
FightSaga.com presents War a Week Radio Chats with boxing scribe Joseph Heron.
Guys, welcome. Happy Thursday night to all of you. And I want to thank you for joining us on this wonderful Thursday evening. Guys, my co-host for the evening, once again, very insightful, the incomparable Frank by the Bay. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Didn't know I had so many nicknames. I'm just a guy.
No, you're an original, brother. You are the incomparable Frank. Big Frank,
Okay.
brother. How you
hey,
doing?
I'll take that. I'm doing good, Joe. How about you?
Yeah. Well, I haven't been on in a couple nights. We've been trying to get James Gogi on the show. Hasn't really worked out. And it's very difficult to get him on the air during the week because he's always in the gym with his promising stable of fighters that you guys are going to see in America probably as early as the first quarter of next year, right? So it's very difficult to get him during the week. That's why we always feature him on Sunday night most of the time. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to chopping him up. I'm trying to get him on tonight, trying to get him on maybe tomorrow night, if that's possible, or tomorrow during the day, because I know he's got a lot to talk about, given his thoughts about the action that we just saw this past weekend, given his thoughts about Fury versus Chisora, also getting his thoughts about the comeback of Vasyl Lomachenko, who's going to be taking on Jermaine Ortiz October 9th. Also going to be featured Robeisy Ramirez, Richard Torres Jr., the heavyweight. And I know he's not going to want to talk about Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva going on that same night, but we're going to bring it up. And then also on that same evening on DAZN, Jojo Diaz versus William Zepeda.
Hell of a fight.
Boy, so I can't wait to pick his brain on that, guys. So look forward to that. Hopefully tonight. I sent him the link. But if we have to close up shop before he gets out of the gym, so be it. But for sure, Coach Gogi will be returning on Sunday night. How do you like that, Frank?
I love it. I make sure I tune in and get the real scoop, not the
Coach
sugar-coated,
Gogi.
politically correct.
You know what's funny, man? You know what's funny is like, and a lot of people have a lot of respect and tune in for our episodes with Rick Glazier for that reason. But for my money, no one gives it to you any straighter than Coach James Gogi. In my opinion, he is the best kept secret in boxing, in my opinion.
What it reminds me of is if I was a content creator or if I was doing, YouTube bits and I really wanted to say something, but I didn't want to offend anybody, I'd bring him on and have him say it.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any more F's to give, brother.
And he doesn't care if you like it or not.
No, he's been through so much in this business, and I absolutely love him for it, man. And he's a legend. And it's funny. Excuse me. He's got an avatar right now, like that he uses just for personal phone calls and that sort of thing. Okay. And it came up, the photo came up, and it was him, Joe Frazier, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. photobombing him. And I'm like, where the hell did you take that, man? Look at that picture, man. 3 legends in that photo. Wow. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's when I was coaching one of the coaches on the 96 Olympic team. U.S. Olympic team. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And like, why don't you bring that up or talk about that on the show? He goes, I don't know. It just don't think about those things. And I'm like, okay, I need to do a better job of bringing this stuff up then. Because most people don't realize that, yeah, he was. Yeah. I mean, dude, when you think about it, the U.S. 96 Olympic team, that was the last great U.S. Olympic team, right? In boxing. Floyd Mayweather Jr., Fernando Vargas, Antonio Tarver.
Yeah, it wasn't David Reed.
David Reed, yes. Lawrence Claybay. Raul Marquez. Dude. Oh, no. Raul was in 92, wasn't he?
Oscar, yeah, I think that's because they were friends, right? That was their class.
That's right. That's right. So Coach Gogi was a part of the 92 and the 96. And he's got so many stories about what a troublemaker Floyd was in the Olympic trials and then going to the Olympics. Yeah, in Atlanta. Yeah, he's got so many stories about that. So I need to make sure to bring that up. But guys, I want to give a shout out to some of our dear friends in the chat. First of all, my brother Jesus M. Saludos to you, my friend. Thank you for always supporting War Week Radio, my brother. And also want to give a shout out to my brother Tycho TV. Salute to you, brother. Thank you so much for being a part of this Thursday night show. Also, my brother Peter Von Arx. Good evening to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us, sir. I tell you what, though, guys, we're going to talk about quite a bit in the immortal words of Jerry Reed of Smokey and the Bandit fame. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. We're going to try to fit this into a tight 60 because I want to be able to see my brother, Ronnie Shields, who's in Indio, California tonight. He's at the Fantasy Springs Casino, and he's going to he's going to be the chief second for Floyd Schofield tonight in the main event. So, yeah, we're going to keep close tabs on that, and I want to be able to see that. But, yeah, we're going to talk about quite a bit. We're going to talk about Tyson Fury versus Chisora 3 being announced tonight. We're also going to talk about the ongoing soap opera as the stomach turns, right? Between Devin Haney, his band of racist minions, and Paulie Malignaggi.
Yep, been seeing that a lot.
Yep, we'll talk all about that. We'll also talk about Keith Idek's kind of glaring article that he just published on Boxing Scene. And once again, the holdup and what's going on between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford negotiation. And guys, we've been telling you for a very long time what the holdup has been. And once again, we're looking at this unbiasedly, guys. We're just reporting exactly what we know and what we've been told. And
yeah,
it hasn't been, Frank, one camp or the other. We have been getting the word from a third party that is integral in this negotiation. They won't be named, but are involved with this negotiation. Okay? And you already know who it is. And anyone who's been listening to the show already knows who it is. Right? But once again, they're involved in this negotiation, but not involved with any one camp. So I'd like to think that everyone here on War Week Radio gets the closest and most accurate depiction of what's actually going on. Right?
Right. But
and that's
somebody
it.
just said, they said the February 4th date. I just wanted to add that somebody, I forgot the name on Twitter.
That was big fat Dan Raphael.
Yeah, you said it first, though. And that's what I just want to say is my boy over here.
We said it 2 weeks ago, man.
Yeah.
You were on that show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, come on now. You know what you're getting.
That's old news, guys. And once again, so big fat Dan Raphael thinks he's breaking anything. No, we reported this 2 weeks ago, guys. I told you guys, get your hotel accommodation straightened out, get your airfare. It's going down on February 4th. Okay. And once again, they targeted that date, and it's very strategic, but also it gives them enough time to be able to put this baby to rest finally and to get some signatures on it. Okay? Plenty of time to promote the event, plenty of time to work out this deal. February 4th is it, guys, at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. We told you guys this 2 weeks ago. But guys, I tell you what, let's talk about, once again, it was announced, Big Frank.
Yep.
They had a special press conference for Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora 3. And
Yep.
all I'm hearing is a ton of, boy, everyone is shitting on this event. Frank, this isn't a fight or a matchup that I asked for. It's not a
No.
matchup that anyone, including Derek Chisora, asked for. But we're getting it. What are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about it? Is it a positive thing? Okay, because I've got kind of a different take on this, I think, than most of what I've been reading. But what are your initial thoughts upon hearing this? And did you see any part of this press conference?
No, I didn't follow it. You had said that
Didn't waste your time, huh?
I mean, you know what? I'm not a Tyson Fury fan. I'm sure there's Tyson Fury fans, but I'm not one of them. I mean, I'll watch his fights, but I'm not necessarily a fan. I won't follow everything, but I follow the boxing, the news. And you had said it was never going to be Char, and now he's going to fight this this guy. But you know what? It's really about his fans, and because I had thought about that, I said, well, you know what? It's just like when I was following certain fighters. Tito Trinidad was one of my favorite fighters, and I watched the Sharifi fights. I bought
for good reason.
I bought some pay-per-views. I bought some Latino. What was the ones that Bob used to do with Top Rank?
Latin Fury, brother.
I mean, this is boxing. I'm used to it. So the people who are going to support him are going to support him. That's really what it amounts to for me, from a fan's perspective. As I'm a fan. So, and we get to watch it for free, don't we?
Of course, it's going to be on ESPN.
So then, why would I complain? Why would I care?
Exactly, guys. Look, and whether you like him or not, you may not like him, you may love him, but damn it, you better learn to respect him. He is the man in the heavyweight division. As long as he steps in that squared circle, he's going to be the man. And of course, everyone wants to see the undisputed between Fury and Usyk. So, guys, this is the next step towards that seemingly imminent showdown in 2023. Guys, want to give a shout out before we move forward to our brother Bruce Gas Boxing, Jazz, and more. Guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Bruce. Always a gentleman, sir. Always insightful. We love your show. Also want to give a shout out to the always insightful Sean. Evening to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us tonight, sir. But I will say this. In my opinion, no one should be stinking on this event. Now, once again, if you're not a fan of Tyson Fury, I understand that. But he is very good for the health of the sport. He's very good for the health of the division. He's a charismatic guy. He's now a mainstream athlete. He's a mainstream, accessible, and recognizable boxer. Very few of those exist in this version of our beloved sport, right? So anytime he fights, and if he remains active, that's a great thing for the sport. And once again, everyone's thinking, oh gosh, the second fight was so lopsided. Sure it was. I think Del Boy Chisora has kind of created a resurgence, and he won his last fight. And it was a guy, he was a little long in the tooth, but his only losses prior to that were against Vladimir Klitschko, right? Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua. He's a big ticket seller in the UK. Okay? And once again, our next guest, gentlemen, I'm always proud to introduce to the show. Guys, before I finish my thought, I'd like to introduce this gentleman to the show, our brother, Sean. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you doing, my brother?
Hello, Sean.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
Always love chopping it up with you, my friend. But no, what I was saying is, look, if you go and look throughout history, and Bruce can attest to this as well, he's such a great fan, and he's such a huge follower of, well, the good old days of boxing. And I love his content on the show. He always has great fights, right? And he loves to talk about great historic fights. But if you look at everyone's resume in the past, no one fought killer after killer after killer after killer.
Yeah, that's what I'm sorry.
It didn't happen, guys. It didn't happen. Look. If you want to stay active,
won't remember these.
If you want your favorite fighter or our best fighters to stay active, guys, give him a pass. Give him, everyone deserves a layup. He fought Wilder twice, then Dillian White. Guys, he deserves this. And look, Derek Chisora is going to show up to fight. Okay, and once again, like him or not, Tyson Fury, he's not the slick boxer puncher any longer. He's a guy who stands in trades. He fights in a more fan pleasing style.
Yeah.
Thanks to
Joe,
our
just as
very
a
dear friend, my brother, Javen Sugar Hill Stewart.
Joe, but just as you're saying
Go
that,
ahead,
what came
Frank.
to mind is nobody remembers Holyfield Ruiz. I mean, who remembers that? We remember the trilogy, the real fights that he
And
had.
that's it.
So
And
we
that's it, my
accepted it.
brother.
It's
Yep.
okay. We didn't
It's
care.
okay.
So history is going to remember
And once
Tyson
again,
Fury.
yeah. Yeah, man. And look. Once again, it's important for our biggest stars to stay as active as they possibly can. Guys, this is nothing but a positive in the sport. Sean, what are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, I mean, it's another fight for us to watch before the year's out. I mean, anyone who has a serious problem with it and throwing their dummy out of the pram, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, who else was he going to fight? Let's be honest. At this
Well,
moment in
look,
time.
and to his defense, he did want to fight Usyk. He
Yep.
did want to fight Anthony Joshua. And so, hey, this is a big UK fight. This is a big regional fight.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be interested in this fight. A lot of people love both guys. And this is going to be a great event for the end of the year.
He always said that he was going to give Del Boy a payday before he left. And
and can you
it's
think
true.
of anyone who deserves it more, Sean?
Hey, you just hit the nail on the head a second ago. One thing we do know is Chisora will have a go at least. He's not gonna, just take it lying down. He's gonna have a go in there. It's a trilogy for Fury's resume. It's another fight for us to watch. I hope the undercard is decent.
Well, look, when you have Daniel Dubois,
yeah,
is going to be taking on a very hungry fighter, right?
Yep.
And for some reason, his name eludes me. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have it in front of me. But
it's begins with a J. No? His surname begins with a J. No,
no, it begins with a K, I think. Let me look it up. My apologies, guys. I don't have this information in front of me. I'm usually pretty prepared, but
yeah, I flicked past the poster earlier.
Yeah, so did I, and it's right there on the marquee because it's such a good co-main event. It's Kevin Lorena.
That's it, Lorena, not Lorena.
Former cruiserweight. I think he's 4-0 as a heavyweight, right?
Yeah, I hope they have some good fights on the undercard. I'd like to see some guys close out the year. Some good performances. The British fans were let down a bit, recently. So,
of course, yeah, and that's understandable. That's a good point. And so, credit to Frank Warren for giving these guys a nice Christmas bonus, so to speak.
For sure. And stay at the end of the day, Fury didn't really need to have a fight. He's staying active. I'm sure there's a mental health component to that because his training. If you see his videos, he's there all the time. And I do believe if you know anyone that suffers mentally in any way when they're doing something, when you see the final finishing line approach for what keeps you happy, for what keeps you on the right path, it can become quite worrying. So staying active for him, I believe, is hugely important. So I like to see the fact that he is getting in there, regardless who it's against. It's all leading to a very, very interesting beginning of next year for this heavyweight division.
Yep, it's all about creating those endorphins for his brain.
It's true, 100%.
It is true.
You can see it, can't you? You can see how he is in press conferences and interviews. You can imagine him being the kid in the school class that's always getting in trouble for talking, right? So seeing how much he's training and taking himself seriously is if this keeps him on the right path, then it's better to see him in the ring than not.
There it is. I couldn't have said it any better myself. I tell you what. So look for that event, guys. It's going to be a tremendous event at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, England.
Beautiful
Can't wait
stadium.
to see it, guys. It's going to be December 3rd. And look, Sean, could you shed some light on why right? And I think you're the first person who told me this, and this is very insightful. You educated me on why the British fans are always so raucous in the stands. It has everything to do with staying warm now, doesn't it?
It does indeed, especially that time of the year. Believe me, there'll be coffees in people's hands, but there'll be something else in the coffee. That's for sure. To be honest,
Yep.
it does come from our love of pugilism, but it also comes from the fact that we have such a massive, football, soccer background. When we get into a crowd, the crowd mentality, and you've got two guys in the ring fighting, we just, we get behind them 110%. And if it's in an outdoor stadium,
Well,
like,
you know what? Maybe
people are going to go crazy.
maybe it wasn't you then who. Maybe it was a fighter. Maybe I mean, you're a fighter, obviously, but maybe it was someone who actually specifically resides in England and stays there all year. I think they told me, they said, look, the reason why we're so rowdy, one, we love our sports, and one, we're true blue. We're not fair weathered fans.
No.
We live for this stuff. And he goes, and three, most importantly, it's fucking cold in the UK, and we're trying to do everything we can to stay warm, that we don't feel the weather.
Well, whoever that was, Joseph, let me
I
tell
thought
you
that
now,
was fascinating, Sean.
it's got absolutely nothing to do with the cold.
Really?
You just, yeah,
Really?
go and have a look at any festival in the UK and have a look at the crowd, and you tell me. And it can be sunny, it can be a beach, it could be a park. For some reason, we've always been that way. I don't know if it comes from
I
our
love it.
warring background, but we're always ready.
Quite
100%
possibly.
ready. We're 100% ready.
I tell
all
you
the time.
what. I tell you what, the Brits are by far, pound for pound, the best fans in all of sports.
Well, we
Easily.
don't buy a ticket for an event to turn up to the event for the main event. We turn up to the event because on the ticket it tells us the time that the event's starting, and we will be there from that moment onwards, and we will be cheering and drinking.
The only American sports that I think are comparable in which fans feel that way and actually turn out that way is big college rivalry games, and all in NCAA football, and then also NASCAR. Those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big hockey fan. There's a lot of that in hockey as well.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, yeah. See, I can't affiliate with that because I'm from San Antonio. We don't have any ice down here, brother.
No, you had a team a little while ago, but yeah, you don't pack the stadiums down.
No, the Rampage.
Same in Arizona, right?
Yeah, the Rampage is like a AA type. If you're talking in terms of, yeah, it's not the NHL.
But you don't go to the Dallas Stars, no?
The Dallas Stars is the closest thing to. This is how massive Texas is, brother.
I know.
To go see a Dallas Stars game, it's a 5.5 hour drive from my city.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's how massive Texas is alone.
Yeah, it's definitely on the bucket list. I will be going there at some point.
Oh, you should, brother. And I tell you what, keep your fingers crossed, guys, because I may be doing commentary for Frank Gore's next fight in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, dang.
So please keep. Yeah, that's interesting to you, Frank. Frank Gore was an awesome 49er, brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he was one of the greats.
I mean, isn't there around 30 million people in Texas?
Yeah, there's a 28. So yeah.
Okay,
28
so
million.
And there's 67 million people in the whole of the UK.
That shows you how massive Texas is. Yeah. Yep. And there it is. And yeah, there it is, man. And look, and so guys, just take it for what it is. It's one of our biggest stars staying busy.
Yep.
Okay. He's going to be on center stage. And he's going to be in an action-filled fight. He's fighting Del Boy Derek Chisora. He doesn't know any other way to fight, guys.
Hey, if you don't have a problem with Wilder versus Hellenius, you damn straight can't have a problem with Fury versus Chisora.
Excellent point, my friend.
We can't, can we? Let's be honest. I mean, really.
That's how I feel.
And I didn't have a problem with Wilder versus Hellenius. Hellenius deserved that opportunity. Now
For
it didn't
sure.
play out to be the great fight, but hey, you know what? That's never guaranteed in the heavyweight division.
For all the people that just watched the highlight, it looked like a great fight.
Well, 3 minutes is all it took. And once again, after watching that media workout before that fight, we attested
Yeah.
to as much. And we told you guys we didn't think it was going to be a long night, right? For either fighter.
No, you gave it 6 rounds. It was 3 minutes.
Yeah. Look. Well. No. My official prediction, if you remembered how we actually handicapped this and encouraged, and once again, that's if you bet, right?
Yep.
And always bet responsibly. And once again, in this business, there's a saying: if you sweat it, don't bet it. Okay.
True.
Seriously. True. So it should be for leisure exclusively. So if you really need the money, and if it's going to hurt you to bet, and if it's going to hurt you to lose, then don't do it. It should be for leisure.
Check the cupboards before you leave. Check the cupboards.
So with that said, I encourage everyone, after watching that media workout, I said, look, guys, now most of the time in these media workouts, fighters and trainers don't usually show their hand to the media because their opponents are usually in the same venue.
Sure.
And they usually stick around to watch, right? But Wilder, in this case, showed his hand. And so with great certainty, I said, guys, this one isn't going past 3. It may not go past 1. There's such a huge disparity in
by any chance,
speed.
Joseph?
You know what? I called it incorrectly. It looked like a check left hook, but it was indeed a right hand as he was coming in. And once again, I can't understand why everyone seems to be under the impression that it was a dive.
Anyone who says that has never been in a fight in their life.
Nope.
And that's 100%
It's like,
true.
come on, Sean, when someone times you perfectly and as you're charging and collapsing the pocket, it's like running into a brick wall, isn't it?
Listen, I've had so many fights that have gone so many different ways, and I understand that not every single human is the same, and not every moment is the same. Not every punch is seen. Sometimes you've been hit so many times that your brain shuts off. It's got nothing to do with anything else. Sometimes you don't.
Correct.
Sometimes you don't see. Sometimes you're anticipating the left and the right comes through. Sometimes it could just be what looks like the weakest punch that catches you in a spot where your body goes, "Wow, we're not feeling that. Let's go down." And when that happens, you're not in control of that. But for someone to sit in an armchair and say that it was a dive, it shows me that person has never had a proper fight in their life.
And there it is.
If they had, they'd know.
And there it is. The truer words were never spoken. Thank you for the insight, Sean. We appreciate it, brother. Because
they just imagine that you have to cock your arm back as far as you can, and you have to come straight across somebody's face for it to be classed as a knockout. If they don't see that, then it must be classed as a dive. Correct? Like that's the only way they could. That's the only way they could possibly back up their argument. Because now they've become specialists within concussion. Because now they're telling you that the way he fell was not correct, or when he was lying, it wasn't correct. He wasn't breathing in the way of an unconscious man. It's ridiculous.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but can you actually practice falling backwards with your head slamming against the canvas?
The only way you could practice such a thing is after a bottle of Hennessy alone at home. And then you'd wake up and you'd realize that you've practiced something that you weren't actually there for. That's the only way you could possibly practice that. To even assume that would be a dive in the first round after 3 minutes. If we were going to surmise that was a dive, we would say, hey, look, if they're all corrupt and they've had a conversation that Hellenius is going to take a dive, do you really think that they would choose the first round to pull off such a farce? That would be the greatest idea.
And the next day, and the next day when Deontay Wilder visited, or after the press conference, when he visited his hotel room, he seemed genuinely embarrassed.
No, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
And it was a beautiful show of sportsmanship and respect. And both guys obviously care for each other. Deontay was like, I'm so sorry, man. And Robert Hellenius' response was, I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better fight.
Yeah, not sorry that I didn't dive properly. Not sorry that I didn't sell it enough, mate. You know, I'm so sorry. I practiced as much as possible, but I just couldn't do it. I'm too big. I think people are gonna work it out, you know. It's, you know, because that's the other thing, right? So they've planned the dive. They've been stupid enough to think that diving within the first round isn't going to cause anybody to think it's a dive. He's then said, look, we've got to sell this even more. I'm going to come to your hotel room and we're going to have a beautiful moment because we need to sell this. I mean, it's just anybody that talks that, they know nothing about the sport, they know nothing about fighting, and they're the reason why sometimes this sport's brought into disrepute, because they bring that type of fucking bullshit into what should be a moment, a comeback for Deontay Wilder, the show of his right hand, the lightest he's been. He's back in the heavyweight division, which means the heavyweight division is better because of it. Helenius is now walking away from the sport. He's got himself a nice payday. There's a moment there between two gladiators that have showed you that they have heart and they're sensitive. The change in Deontay Wilder showed you how much not only the sport means to him, but the way that he's gone through the darkness to come out the other side. There was lots to take from that, and yet everyone's screaming dive. It's pathetic.
It's terrible. And once again, guys, we always like to say on this show, somewhere along the way, fight fans have fooled themselves into thinking that it's a more enlightened and intelligent way of viewing the sport by shitting all over it irrationally. Well,
It's
quite the
everything now.
contrary.
It's
Well,
frustrating.
quite the contrary. Quite the
It's
contrary,
every
because
fight.
it shows you, it only displays that you don't know what the hell you're looking at.
Yep.
That's what
It
it really
sounded
shows.
like when someone said it was a joke, and it was just a joke that took on caught fire.
Oh, and then every YouTube
Look.
guy wants to make a short about it, wants to do a poll about it, and then
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
that symptom. It
Yeah.
just took a life of its own, and
tabloid.
it was
So
edgy.
guys, we're going to shift gears in a bit, but we want to give a
Okay.
shout out to our brother Khalid. He says there was a ringside video and the sound of the knockout sounded lethal. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Once again,
Yeah, but
guys, yeah, guys, look. Whether you
they
like
faked
him or
that.
not,
They faked that too. There was a clapper in his pants.
no, of course. Look, whether you like it or not, guys, whether you like him or not, you better damn well respect him. That is sick power. That isn't ordinary.
Not at all. Not at all.
Deontay Wilder,
God give him.
guys, and just like Sean said, look, the health of the sport, well, the sport is better off with him participating in it.
100%.
And there it is. And I tell you what, though, Frank,
Yeah,
this version of Deontay Wilder. Now, this is the guy, when I first started doing PR work with Don Charkin and Golden Boy Promotions, and I started featuring this gentleman on my old radio show, The Pugilist Corner on Eastside Boxing. This is the guy that it was very difficult not to root for. This is the guy that I first interviewed when he first was signed by Golden Boy Promotions. This was the guy. Like, somewhere along the way, after he fought Charlie Zelenoff and met him at a gym and started taking
was
on
hilarious.
this bronze bomber mentality. Now, he became a little crazy, and he started saying these absurd things in the media.
He did.
So now, after his two humbling losses to Tyson Fury, he's resorted back now to the Deontay Wilder that I first met when he first turned pro. This is a guy who I think the great majority of America can get behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I think athletes.
Go ahead, Frank. I'm sorry.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead,
I mean, athletes' careers just have so many peaks and valleys. It's just that's what we love, though, right? We follow it because we want to see the highs and the lows and them come back and redemption. I mean, isn't that what all the Rocky movies are about? Is redemption? So we always root for the underdog.
And guys, don't forget Creed 3. And once again, there's a perfect example of fans like completely getting the wrong idea. Creed 3, guys, is going to be coming out in March of 2023. Guys, everyone has please go support this.
Yeah.
Please go buy a ticket and go see it in the theater the way movies should be viewed, right?
For sure.
Go support this. This promotes our beloved boxing. There's a reason why Sylvester Stallone is in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. as a non-participant because he did so much for the health of the sport, promoting
100%.
our beloved boxing on the mainstream level. And this does exactly that. And what do most fans point out? They point out that, oh no, DAZN's doing the commentary. That's what you get from this. Look, guys, and once again, if you look
at least
at
it's not Chris Mannix.
Well, no, it is going to be Chris Mannix, Sergio Mora, as well as
No, come on.
His name eludes me. It's going to be all three of them calling the faux Adonis Creed fight, right? But here's why, though, guys. Here's why. Who actually paid for the licensing fee for the great majority of the big events in 2022 when they were filming the movie? It was DAZN.
Yeah,
guys, if you look at how much money, if you look at how much money they've expended in terms of licensing fees, there isn't a close second. So all of the major events with most of the fans, it was DAZN, right? So that's why the DAZN coverage is a part of it, and that's a simple explanation. Before we introduce our next guest, and he's always very insightful, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this. I need to give a shout out to my brother Larry Liston. Thank you for joining us, sir. Going to be a great fight with Beevil versus Zordo. Salute to Joseph in the panel. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday. And we're going to talk about that in just a bit. But I want to introduce my dear friend, someone who's always been very insightful on the War Week Radio chat room. For the first time, my brother Hyphy. Hyphy, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, big ups, Joe.
Hey,
good to speak with you, Frank.
Evening.
Vibe. Good evening. Good speaking with y'all. I'm gonna just, hop in, mix in whenever wherever the conversation goes.
Tell you
An
what,
exclamation point here and there.
What's the avatar? That's weird.
In the immortal words of Karen Carpenter, we have only just begun, my friend. So guys, I'm gonna give you your choice. What would you like to discuss, right? Would you like to discuss Devin Haney, Paulie Malignaggi? Would you like to discuss? Well, I guess that does have a lot to do with the return of Vasyl Lomachenko. You wanna segue into that right now?
Let's go.
Okay, very good, guys. It was if you've been on Twitter, you've noticed that there's been somewhat of a soap opera going on between Devin Haney and his minions. And they've been throwing daggers at Paulie Malignaggi, the always outspoken but always insightful Paulie Malignaggi. Look, guys, if you've ever met Paulie, you understand that there's kind of a screw loose there, right?
Of course,
100%. But he's a very smart guy.
He knows boxing, that's for sure.
He knows boxing. He knows the business, and he's always very outspoken. He has no filter. Like, I'll tell you a story. One time we were with a promoter friend of mine who was, at the time, he was just a trainer. And Paulie was in town to call a fight at the Alamodome. He was working for Showtime at the time. And he was sparring because he was getting ready for a fight also. He was sparring at Jesse James Leha's gym in San Antonio, Texas. So we took him out to eat. And he goes, hey, you guys have a Jason's Deli here? And I'm like, well, dude, you're in San Antonio. Why don't you try a place that's exclusive to San Antonio? And he goes, hey, no offense, Joseph, but you guys aren't exactly the healthiest people in the world.
That sounds like him.
And so I was like, oh, touche. I said, okay, well, Jason's Deli, we're going. And so we're eating, right? And he's got the salad buffet. He's eating salad, and I see him eating Greek salad. And I said, Paulie, what's the hardest you've ever been hit before? Oh, hell, man. Miguel Cotto, man, he kicked my fucking ass, man. And then he starts to get up in the aisle, right?
Show you.
Like he's starting to act out the fight, and I'm like kind of embarrassed looking around. And he's got these huge eyes as big as saucers while he's telling us how the fight's playing out. And I'm like, and he's like standing up now at this point in the aisle, acting out the fight. And I'm like, okay, we get the idea. Paulie, come sit down, man. Rejoin us, man. And
we can paint pictures.
and he's like, no, man. You guys don't understand. This guy had a fucking brick in his glove, man. I mean, it fucking broke my jaw, man. I mean, and he was setting up. He was like talking about combinations, and it was so brilliant. It was so much fun. But that's how Paulie is. He has no filter, and he couldn't care less. He doesn't give any F's of what people think about him.
Oh.
One of the most fighters that did the most with the least. I mean, I can remember watching, like, what am I watching? I don't want to.
Look, I will say this.
I kept seeing them.
His fight and his performance against Lovemore and Dew to capture the IBF 140-pound title was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant performance. And so he'll always have that. And we were talking about that on Twitter today, weren't we, Frank?
Yes, we were.
What was it? Dan Canobio from CompuBox, great guy. And he says, you know, don't you get tired? Or he kind of insinuated that, don't you get tired of these fighters? You know, how long can a fighter be allowed to pat himself on the back for a performance or something that he did well in the ring? And I'm like, look, man, this is what we love about boxing. Every major fight is a Super Bowl. It's forever. Like Buster Douglas, he can beat his chest for the rest of his life for what he did.
There you go.
Yeah, that's like telling your granddad to not say the same stories at Christmas. Like, people have moments in their life. Yeah, people have moments in their life that mean a lot to them.
I think it was in reference. Yeah, it was in reference because this is off the subject, but it's on the subject. Of Shields has been gloating too much of her win, but you know, it's like I said, I know many fighters and they love their minor trinkets, right, Joe? I said, like, remember the NABF title? Like, these guys, man, they idolize those.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
I love
anything. Anything you win along the way is something more than you.
There you go. That part,
you
know? That's why, guys, a loss is so difficult to some of these fighters. Because it's forever. It's forever. Right?
Yeah, they don't. No, people don't understand sometimes when a fighter wants to run a fight back. Right? They don't understand when they're like, I just want to fight that guy again, because when they leave that ring, they remember what they didn't do, and it can plague them hard.
That's it, guys. Before we move forward, I have to give a shout out to my brother Scott 70. Thank you for joining us, sir. He's listening to the show right now in Thailand. Thank you so much for tuning in, my brother.
And he's got a Warriors avatar.
That's it. And I want to give a shout out to my brother Sly Tendencies. We're doing great now that you're here, my friend. Thank you for always joining in.
Thank you, brother.
Week Radio. God bless you, brother. I tell you what, man. So this is what Paulie had to say on Paulie TV, and this is what created all the uproar. Right? Quote, you know, I said it from the start that Haney isn't going to want to fight Lomachenko. He's going to beat Kambosos because those are easy fights. Then he's going to vacate those titles and move up to 140 pounds. Look, if Haney stays at 135, the plans for Top Rank was going to be for Haney and Lomachenko to fight, and Lomachenko to take the undisputed title from Haney and hold it for a defense or two until Shakur Stevenson was ready to move in and become the next generation star, as he would take out the fading star Lomachenko by that point. That would have been a pay-per-view blockbuster. That's the way Top Rank exits one superstar and creates the next one. And that's what would have happened. I feel that Haney is going to avoid Lomachenko. I've said that from the start. End quote. That's what created all of this nonsense that we're seeing. And look, guys, we're all looking forward to seeing the return. Now, considering what Lomachenko and his family and his countrymen have been through in recent months, we're all interested, and we're all going to be dialed in on the return of Vasyl Lomachenko. And guys, he's not fighting a cupcake. He's fighting a very awkward, undefeated fighter in Jermaine Ortiz, a guy who's very difficult to look good against. Yeah. Okay? So this is all a ton of nonsense until we see how Vasyl Lomachenko looks next weekend. Your thought? Well, let's start counterclockwise. Let's start with Hyphy. Hyphy, what are your thoughts on all of this soap opera, this banter between Devin Haney and Paulie Malignaggi?
Well, shoot, even as, you know, a black boxing fan, I don't got a problem with anything that Paulie said. Now, is there some dislike for Devin? Yeah, I think there's some dislike. And I don't agree with Paulie within that. But as far as the criticism that he's received, as far as people calling Paulie a racist and all that, the only people that's calling Paulie a racist, those are the real racists. Those are the ones that race bait
Yep.
in this boxing community all day.
Look,
they need
man,
to just go
I know
somewhere.
I know Paulie. He doesn't have a racist bone in his body. Like that is just the most absurd thing. But yeah, very good observation, Hyphy, and we appreciate your candor, my friend. Sean, what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on this entire As the World Turns soap opera that's going on Twitter right now?
Bunch of sausages, Joseph, to be honest.
Sausages.
Absolute sausages jumping around in the pan for no reason.
And-
They're just scared. That's all. They're scared because they've put so much emphasis on following a fighter that a fighter's achieved something great. So they're using that to make themselves feel better. And Loma's back, and they're worried if he does fight, and he loses, what they're going to do. What they're going to do. And I tell you now, if Haney wins, Loma fans will say Haney was too big. He was a weight bully. If Loma wins, they'll say Haney was drained, staying at 135. Like this won't end because this is the new rhetoric now that comes with the man fanning for certain boxers. There was nothing wrong with what Paulie said. He's entitled to his opinion. There was no racial undertones involved in it whatsoever.
No.
If he doesn't like Haney for any reason, that's up to him. I don't know why. I'm not privy to any conversations or moments they might have had, but I didn't see any animosity in that statement.
None.
If Haney does vacate and leaves, then it's going to be great for the 135 division. I can't wait to see some of those fights to clean up those belts. And all of this needs to stop. It just needs to stop. We see the fight. I can't wait for those styles to have to go against each other.
It's a great matchup.
If we don't see that fight, we're going to be seeing a lot of fights for the belts. So let's go.
That's it. With a lot of deserving contenders at 35.
For sure.
Guys, you're talking about a talented rich division. So, Frank, with Sean and Hyphy's brilliant insight, okay, there's nothing more really to add for that. So I'm going to ask you a new question.
Okay.
Do you think Devin Haney tries to make weight once again and retain those titles against Vasily Lomachenko if he's successful against and creates that buzz for that fight next weekend? Or does he move up in weight, abandon the titles, and fight Teofimo Lopez next year?
Geez, this is a landmine and it's kind of a loaded question. I've heard different things because I'm a junkie when it comes to these things. Joe, I've told you, I investigate. I go through multiple sources. I don't follow one side, but I think he does drop the belts. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I hope he fights Lomachenko, but the way it was outlined, now this could be false information, it could be accurate, but he had a 2-fight deal with the third option. There's mixed information, right? Okay. Now, the way it was, someone had said it, which actually made sense, was that if he vacates, then Top Rank will get more options because they're not going to let him leave with the belts. Like, this is what it amounts to, is the politics of it, right? You think Tom Brady's just going to leave him with the belts? That's what Paulie was alluding. He said Top Rank is not going to let him come and take the belts and leave. They're going to get him beat.
Or they're going to make sure they have more options on him moving forward.
There you go.
More options on his future fights. I understand, but it's not up to them. Look, they have right now one more option on his next fight, and that's it. Okay? But is he actually going to elect to try and kill himself to make weight once again? So, I mean, let's face it. Boy, he looked like a skeleton with skin at this weigh-in. Now, once again, it didn't really affect him in this matchup. And he really looked every bit of the pound-for-pound guy that most people think he's going to be, right? he looked dominant, and I'm surprised that he didn't knock out Kambosos in the late rounds of the fight, right? But I will tell you, Frank, why this fight, Devin Haney versus Vasyl Lomachenko, is going to be very difficult to make. And this is what Paulie didn't allude to, but I'm sure he knows the business better than anybody. Okay, so I'm going to tell you that this is a very difficult fight to make. Okay? I don't see this fight being made because Devin Haney, after making a little over $2 million for the first fight, closer to $3 million in the second fight, he's going to demand, he's going to price himself out of this fight. He's going to demand, because now he's the man. He is the lineal champ with all the belts. He is the undisputed lightweight champion. He is going to believe, because he's a product of receiving inflated purses. And one thing that tells me this is his comments, he and Bill's comments, after they made this 2-fight deal with Kambosos. He said, you know what, we believe that we didn't get enough, what we feel we deserve, but we're going through with this fight because we really want the opportunity. We really want those titles. And if you look at how much he's been paid with Matchroom Sport and Eddie Hearn in DAZN, he got over $3 million to face Jojo Diaz. He got $3 million to face Yuriorkis Gambosos. Or Yuriorkis Gamboa. Thank you, sir. Okay? So that tells me, with him having all the titles and it being such a challenging matchup on paper, whether it plays out that way, that remains to be seen. But it being as challenging of a competition, of a matchup, he's going to demand at least $5 million that isn't there for this fight. That tells me that this is going to be a really difficult fight to make. It's not a pay-per-view fight. And Devin Haney is going to be demanding pay-per-view money. In my opinion, this fight doesn't happen because for that reason.
All right.
Everything I know about the business tells me that this is exactly how it plays out.
Well, bar humbug,
Whether or not,
Joseph.
I'm sorry, what?
Bar humbug, Joseph.
No, Joe is
I'm sorry, brother.
no,
You're breaking me here, man. I've wanted to see this fight for ages.
What is it? No, Joe is the Matrix. You know, when he was dodging bullets, but they were really like numbers. It's like,
No, guys, look.
And this is Percy's flying past him.
look, guys, and this is the whole purpose of the show. And I know a lot of fight fans and a lot of content creators and a lot of very intelligent people in the YouTube boxing community. They don't like to talk about the business of boxing, but it's imperative that you understand the business. And that's the whole purpose of this show. So you become more intelligent fans, and you understand why certain deals are impossible and why certain deals don't take place and why certain deals do happen. That's why we're here, right?
It's mad.
And so once again, we're trying to enlighten you guys in terms of the business, and we know it's an ugly part, but look, everyone in this business, they will tell you this. There's the primary reason why you get in the boxing business is 1, to make money.
Yeah.
2, to make more money. And that's pretty much it, right? It's just like the music industry, just like the motion picture industry, right? Unfortunately, the music business, the boxing business, the second part of that term always is most important to everyone involved.
Yeah, it's a shame.
And unfortunately, guys, that's the God's honest truth.
I mean, you're talking about a man's flying to Australia for 2 million, flying back for 3 million, can't stay in his own backyard for the same 3 million, for a career defining fight, for a name on his resume. I mean,
yep, that's
it's insanity to me. But then I'm not a man to watch another man's pockets and say what he should and shouldn't do. But if you want to go down as one of the best in your era, then let's go. Let's go. If I've been here for that long at that weight, and now suddenly it's a problem for me, like because I'm going to be taking on Lomachenko, it's like, come on. And the man's a 130 anyway. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is what Cambosa started at 130.
Yep.
So I mean, come on, let's be honest here. I mean, as a boxing fan myself, I say, let's get it on, guys. Like let's change this rhetoric. If someone would start changing the rhetoric in boxing and go back to the old days where they were like, well, if you've got 3 million, it's 3 million. Let's go. I was happy taking less before. I've taken the same before. Let's go.
Yeah, you know what? In this business, though, Sean,
I know.
asking a fighter to take less than what he's grown accustomed to receiving.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
That's very difficult.
He's just took 2, and then he's took 3 to defend it.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying he can't take 3 again to fight a recognised name. That's going.
You know what, brother?
If Loma comes back against Jermaine Ortiz and looks as good as he did against Kome and Nakatani before the war,
and creates that buzz, that's a hot matchup, brother. That's a hot fight. That's a lot of money.
Joseph, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Come on.
I got a question.
Hyphy, go for it, brother. Let it go, man.
While we're on the topic of, Lomachenko, Haney, all right, so I went to the Lomachenko versus Krolla fight, which was in
Anthony Krolla. Yeah.
Great
Hold on, real quick. Hold on. Hyphy, I want you to continue everything that you're gonna just lay out for us. But guys, please excuse me. I'm gonna step away and take a Veda test at this time, please. So as you were, Hyphy, God bless you, brother.
May the force be with you.
All right, well, I hope Joe hear me in the background. But so I went to that Anthony Krolla fight, and the fight was on a Friday, so the weigh-in was on a Thursday at a Staples Center, Los Angeles. That was so damn empty, you could hear a penny drop. The actual fight itself, it didn't do well as far as tickets. So I want if Joseph hears me, I just want to know, why is it that the whole lightweight division, they look at Lomachenko as basically like the big box office fight, when this is a guy who he doesn't do box office numbers. So how does that make a box office fight?
But his status.
But what year was that Krolla fight?
2019, I believe.
2019.
Yeah, and him and Tio did 4 million views. So
yeah,
it's his status. He's a pound for pound. You can't deny or take that away from him. I mean, you could talk about where he is now, but where he's been, you can't take away. And we know, if you're a boxing fan, you can watch him. You can see his fights. I watch his fights every now and then. He's one of the best. You can't say he's not.
For sure.
I mean, even watching Devin Haney, we can say, okay, we think he's the best, but we haven't seen him on that level.
True. It depends how you define it, right? If you're one of those fans that looks at the belts and accolades rather than the resume, or if you're a fan that sits there and just observes the fighter regardless of anything else and sees the skills laid in front of you, that's what we do with up and comers, right? I mean, that's why Boots is valued so high in boxing, is because the eye test. It's not the resume, is it? It's not the accolades.
They can try to sell us a Berlanga, but you and I know, okay, well, he's not really what he's cut out to be. But we'll want to see him again. But if you're trying to sell me something that I'm not sold on yet, and that's my main gripe with a lot of the content creators or Twitters, like, you can't sell me something. You don't have to sell a Ferrari, right?
For sure.
It sells itself. So, I mean, it's not saying that I don't think Devin Haney's good. It's just, you can't sell me that he's a great. You have to beat this man.
He's a great boxer, but you can't say he's the greatest.
That's what I'm saying. Now, if he would have beat Lomachenko, he can leave that division and say, I was the best at that time in my era, and I'll accept it. I would never say anything disparaging against that, but you can't leave it and then still say that.
No, of course. I mean, it's got to the point where we choose sides.
Go ahead, Sean, sir. Go ahead.
No,
Sean,
I'm just saying, it's got to the point where a lot of people they choose the sides, right?
Well, where did Manny Pacquiao fight David Diaz at? Wasn't it 135?
135. It was his only fight at that division.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So he could never go back and say, well, I was the best at 135, but we accepted it because he went up and took on one of the best at 140.
Exactly.
So that's what Devin.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what Devin. Okay, go up at 140 and fight Taylor or Tio, whoever ends up the top of the division.
Yeah.
But you can't leave. You just can't leave it right now saying you're the best. So we could say, yeah, you were a champion. We'll say David Diaz was a champion, but
Yeah.
could we say he was the best? No.
But that's the thing again, isn't it? It comes down, if you're saying, well, who's the best in the division? Well, who has all the belts? Okay, fair enough. So you're an accolade guy, right? But you're not a resume guy because he hasn't fought all of the top competition within that division. So although you can say that he's undisputed, the youngest undisputed, there's no dispute in that. It's the road that got him there that can be disputed. And
Now,
if he
if it
does
was-
move on without
yeah,
facing
but
Loma, then that's
if there was
the
a
big.
situation where Bud Crawford had got, where did he get where he beat the Ndungo guy?
Yeah.
Well, and he beat Postal. Okay, well, there was really no other names. Well, who was a name at that time that he could have fought? Because it's almost similar, right? It's very
Well, it's
similar.
true.
With
Yeah,
those names.
it is. And also, like, when you look at it, when you've got two big names, if you see what Loma loses to Tio, what does Loma do after the Tio? He takes on Nakatani and Comey, the two people that Tio faced before he faced Loma, right? So there's always that knock-on effect within each division where you're going to get the two people that are going to face each other for all of the marbles, that they're going to go through the same opponents to kind of create that triangle theory within the fandom, and how they beat them and how they got there. But we haven't got that.
You could just and you could be at a time and a place in the division where beating Ndongo for Crawford makes you the man. Beating Postal makes you the man. But then you're going to find yourself in a position where the guy in your division is Crawford. You can't say you're the man and you conquered that division. It's just we're just not going to accept it. So that's what we're putting Haney in. It's the same box. Sometimes you can get away with it and leave a division with a name like Postal, and sometimes you can't.
Well, it's what they do with Canelo, right? Doesn't matter what he does. Apparently, he ducked Andre and then he ducked Charlo. Right? That's what they do. The same thing. But if you're not having the same energy, then for another fighter in another division doing the same thing, then it kind of makes your argument pointless, right?
Well, wait, Sean, are you trying to say that fans are homers and hypocrites? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I don't want you putting words in my mouth, Joseph.
Guys, honestly, I love this discussion. Very insightful. We're gonna take some messages from our chat, right? Our brother Sly Tendency says excited time in boxing. Yes, it is, guys.
Sure, for sure.
This is a great time to be a fight fan and enjoy the fights while we still have all of these TV dates, because there's something on the horizon that tells me.
Stop it, Joe.
Nope. No. There's something on the horizon that tells me that, guys, these TV dates are going to get more scarce and scarce.
Oh.
So, guys, if you want to support your beloved boxing, go out to your local show, purchase a ticket, and get to know some of these local promoters and fighters. Okay? Because that's going to be the future of the sport. And I'll explain that in a little bit if we have time. Our brother Peter Von Ark says, Paulie was just calling the business the way he sees it. I don't see the problem. I don't see it either. Planet 619. Welcome to the show, sir. He says this. Paulie has said some racially insensitive things. That said, Haney wrote that check a long time ago. If he loses to Loma, then folks are coming to collect. Haney fans seem to be okay with him not fighting Loma. And Sean just explained how and why.
Yeah.
And so our brother Khalid says, let's see. Our brother Khalid says it's very possible Haney drops the belt, fights Richard Comey in the interim, and then fights Tio after. That's a very good observation, and that could happen. Let's hope that it doesn't, because for my money, man, I hope everyone strikes a deal and we see Haney versus Lomachenko. That's the fight, guys. Look, we're already getting
the styles, Joseph.
Yes. It's like that's a 50-50 fight. We want to see what happens. Just like Garcia and Tank is being made. And we'll talk about that in a second. I've got a lot to say about that. Okay. So my brother Sly also says Paulie has a chip on his shoulder about the race stuff. Apparently, he lost his job on Showtime because of the race. Okay, I've got the backstory, and I'll tell you the real reason why he got let go. Okay, he lost his job on Showtime because of race comments, as well as getting caught saying bad stuff about the George Floyd case. Look, the real reason why Paulie was let go has a lot to do with Deontay Wilder. Go back to that first fight with Paulie Malignaggi calling the action, right? It was very unfavorable to Deontay Wilder and PBC, right?
Not allowed.
So they were looking for an excuse to let him go. And they found it. And that's it. That's the real reason. It went as far as even trying to not give Paulie credentials for his next fight. Okay? That's the real reason, guys. Okay?
Don't say what you see, Paulie.
Dude, that's the entire reason. They were looking for a reason to get rid of Paulie. Because Al Heyman and Deontay Wilder didn't like how he acted on the broadcast live. Okay? At the tail end of the Deontay Wilder fight. The first one with Tyson Fury. Basically exposing, basically saying, you know what? Tyson Fury just got robbed. I can't even analyze the rest of this fight. I can't even talk about both fighters because, Tyson Fury was robbed. And he made a big deal of that on the broadcast. That's the real reason why he was let go.
And they
How
say
do you like that?
Is the best policy, huh?
Well, not in
Makes
boxing,
sense.
brother. Not in boxing, brother. Why do you... Anyway, I was going to say something, but I thought the wiser of it. Never mind. Okay. So Khalid says, I agree, Joseph. Haney will not make that weight again unless they pay him a career-high payday. Guys, true words were never spoken.
Stop it.
There it is. Sorry, guys. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but, guys, this is going to be a very difficult fight to make.
It's just ridiculous, though, Joseph. Come on now. The man gets
sorry,
a new,
brother.
He gets a new nutritionist. Flies him all the way to Australia with him. Says it was the easiest he ever made weight. Pretty much saying exactly the same thing that Errol Spence said when he actually got a nutritionist. made the weight, no problem whatsoever. He's come back home. He's been going out eating well, having a lovely time. Flew back to Australia, made the weight again. Lasted the 12 rounds. Never looked emaciated in the fight. Looked like he was ready to go another 4 or 5. Like I don't know where this is coming from. He's been there for how long?
Look,
it's a big thing that it's his health and all of this. I mean, come on, let's be honest.
Well, look, just like Ryan Garcia, it seemingly happens overnight, and you know this, Sean. Because Ryan Garcia, before his fight with Emmanuel Tego, right, he was like, okay, we're going to do this fight at catchweight of 139. His last fight was at 135 was with Luke Campbell of January of 2021, right?
Yeah.
So it was in San Antonio, so I was there at the gym that he was working out in, right? The day before the weigh-in, he was at 144.
Okay.
144.
Yeah.
He was like, oh my gosh. So he killed himself to make 139. Right?
Okay.
And his most recent fight against Javier Fortuna, he admitted, he goes, you know what? There's no way in Hades I'm going to be able to make 135 ever again. I'm a junior welterweight now. So my question to you guys is he going to be able to make weight against Tank Davis, who's demanding a 135-pound weight limit?
Yeah, he will. Yeah.
Hyphy?
He says he will.
What are your thoughts on that, Hyphy?
You see, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's why I think the fight ain't going to happen.
He will.
Look, this fight is almost a done deal. But whether or not he makes weight, that remains to be seen. In my opinion, they were damn fools not to insist on a catch weight. 139, 138, maybe. But 135, no way in hell. This is a big kid. Okay, I was standing right next to him at the gym when they did that weigh-in with Coach Joe Goosen. And he weighed 144 before the weigh-in of 139. And he killed himself to make 139. I'm telling you guys right now, in no way in hell does he make 135.
That's bad planning.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's bad planning.
And guys,
Devin's
look,
just made it twice in the same year.
Well, look, guys, maybe this is the reason why they've actually slated this fight for January 7th.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
from what I've been told, that's the target date,
Let's go.
January 7th.
Happy
Okay?
New Year.
Happy New Year indeed, brother. I love it. You know what,
And then
guys?
February the 4th, happy early Valentine's.
Oh my gosh. And guys, we're going to go into that's a perfect segue into our next topic. Guys, Keith Idec just put out this article on Boxing Scene, says growing concern on Spence's side that Crawford's team isn't committed to fight. I think that's a load of rubbish. And once again, that's just clickbait. But here it is, according to Keith Idec, stating basically something that I've already known for a very long time. And look, credit to Young Bill and I, we've been actually reporting this since June. Okay? And once again, our sources, what we've been told by someone who's a third party but involved in this negotiation, guys. Okay? So, deductive reasoning, okay? You know who our sources are. So he says this, when Errol Spence Jr.'s, now this is Keith Idec now, quote, when Errol Spence Jr.'s representative sent back another revised contract to Terrence Crawford's attorney earlier this month, those working on Spence's behalf were optimistic that it would lead to the consummation of a deal for the unbeaten welterweight champions to finally lock horns at some point early in 2023. The most recent 3 changes Crawford's attorney requested, none of which were considered major deal points, were made. He hasn't responded, and he's had this contract for the past 2 weeks. Guys, Hyphy, what are your thoughts? Does this fight get made for February 4th?
Once again, I'm being a pessimist. Nah, I just don't see it happening even in. But you know, it's funny to me because I heard that, you know, it was reported sometime last month. Oh, they had agreed to all negotiation terms and a fight was going to happen. What it's like a few weeks later, we hear, oh, you know, we just hear this article from IDEC. So it's like, you know, which one is it? Or somebody putting out false info. I don't know what it is, but I just don't believe the fight is going to happen. At least anytime soon.
Hyphy, I'll give you my timeline, brother. I was told, okay, and this has been a trend now. This is why I'm really, really worried about this fight getting made. Because I was told, right, by my guys, okay, I'm just going to spill the beans. I'm at my guys at Showtime, right? Telling me that both parties had agreed to terms as early June, right? And then all of a sudden, one party, Terrence Crawford, took exception to what was in the contract. Then he said, you know what? We need to redo this. Then it went on, and it went on, and it went on. The biggest sticking point, guys, in this negotiation has been the money. Showtime, apparently their proposed guarantee, right, was so far apart with Team Crawford that they were forced to basically say, look, we're so far apart, we're never going to agree to this. You're standing firm on your side, we're standing firm on our side. So let's just do this, right? Let's just do this. Let's just agree to give you guys a percentage, the lion's share of the percentage, from the first pay-per-view sold to the last. And we won't have a guaranteed. Showtime will just take their 10%, their allotted 10% from the first pay-per-view sold to the last. And let's get through this so we can actually hammer this and bring it home for the fans. Okay? But now we see someone, and this is the product, guys, of Terrence Crawford not having attorneys who are boxing minded or boxing experienced attorneys. I guarantee you, if Mike Miller had been handling this for Terrence Crawford, okay, or Cameron Duncan, or Chris Mittendorf, if he had had any one of those guys, or Bob Arum, this deal would have already been done. The problem here, guys, is he surrounded himself with attorneys who have no experience in putting these deals together in boxing. It's one thing to be, excuse me, it's one thing to be an attorney, but unless you've actually are experienced in putting these deals together, it's like night and day. It's completely foreign to you.
Well, you have different attorneys for different things.
That's the problem. That's the problem, guys. So This is why you're seeing Terrence Crawford take exception to things that are completely foreign to him, because it's completely foreign to his attorneys. He has terrible representation in this. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is his first time acting as his own representation, his own promotion, right?
Could be daunting.
This is the product. So now Terrence Crawford is going to go an entire year without stepping foot in the ring.
Oh, dear.
So that's the problem, guys.
So February the 4th, what year are we talking about?
Oh, guys, if there's a God in this world, we're going to get it February 4th of next year. Now, once again, that's the targeted date. And we've left enough cushion to try and hammer out all of this. But when you don't have experienced guys going to bat for you in the war room, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Now consider this. Look how quickly of a deal has been made between Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Keep in mind, that's a much more difficult deal to make. 2 separate networks, 2 separate promoters.
Yep.
And you mean to tell me they're going to strike a deal before Spence Crawford? And they've been trying to make this deal since May.
I wish that someone would take Spence to a basketball game and Crawford to the same basketball game, and then they go to the suite afterwards and talk it out and come to an arrangement, and then the fight happens, just like Mayweather Pac-Man. If they could just recreate the same scenario so we could get this done.
Oh my gosh, there's so much wrong with this, guys. And once again, we've spent episodes of War Week Radio talking about all of this, everything that we know.
Painfully,
but we're not going to do
Joseph.
this again. But but look, this sums it up, right? Our brother Peter Von Arx, thank you for hanging with us, my friend. He says probably the same attorneys that he's using to sue Arum with. I read the lawsuit. Yes, I did too, and it's laughable. And unfortunately, Peter, it's the same exact attorneys. From what I've been told, and once again, this is coming from, my 2 guys at Showtime. They said Terrence doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, verbatim, and he's acting like a diva.
Doesn't he have his
And once again, guys, War Week Radio, we don't have a dog in the hunt.
Well,
we don't have a dog in the hunt. Sean, your thoughts, brother?
My thoughts are after all of that, Joseph, quite upset.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news once again.
I mean, I just said it doesn't.
The way it is.
Doesn't Crawford have his contract from the Porter fight? Can't they just copy paste? Can't they just do something?
Well,
did you make pay-per-views and a guarantee? Let's just go. Please.
Just to let you know, Sean, that's been part of the problem. Okay?
Oh dear.
Because they look at the last payday he received from Top Rank.
Yeah.
He received $6 million for fighting Sean Porter. So in their camp's mind, they deserve a lot more money than that. Okay? So they're looking at Sean Porter, a meager WBO title defense. For all the marbles at 147 pounds, they believe they deserve at least $15 million. Guaranteed. So
and pay-per-view.
So according to my guys at Showtime, they've stated that, look, we're not just based on your previous numbers on pay-per-view, just based on, and once again, we're taking into consideration the quality of opposition.
Yeah.
Okay, we're only willing to guarantee you 8.5 million. So Terrence Crawford and his attorneys, in their infinite wisdom, would rather, instead of taking a guarantee, would rather just get 35 to 40% of all the proceeds. The site fee as well as, and I'm like, what mental genius talked you into that shitty deal?
Yeah.
Look,
Oh,
Sean,
my days, my days.
as a fighter, why wouldn't you take the goddamn guarantee?
You would take any guarantee because the back end you're getting on the back end anyway.
That's it.
Like,
And in
you're
this
gonna
era
be
of
negotiating.
piracy,
You're gonna be negotiating the pay-per-views regardless.
exactly.
Even if you look back at Sean Porter and use Sean Porter as a guide, and then add the fact that Errol Spence is a bigger name in some respects than Sean Porter is, there's an undisputed. It will definitely be advertised a lot more. It's through Showtime anyway, so you could say to yourself that I might be making more in the pay-per-view than I did with Porter. He can bring his pay-per-view guys. I bring my pay-per-view guys. The numbers should be higher. Give me that guarantee. I'll take the 35-40% on the back end pay-per-view. Happy days. Let's get it done.
That's it. Why wouldn't you take the damn guarantee in this era of piracy? Does that make any sense to anyone on God's green earth?
The only sense that would make is to Showtime, who knows now they don't have to pay upfront money before receiving any on the back end. So it's a win for them. It's not a win for Bud. It's a win for them. They don't have to guarantee money from the outset before recouping any whatsoever.
Exactly. That's my point, Sean. Whoever is advising Terrence Crawford at this time has no experience making any of these deals. Guys, so it brings me great joy, right, to welcome this gentleman right now. And this is a very good segue because I need some good news, right? Ryan Singleton, my brother, and he was one of the groomsmen at my wedding. So I've known him for several decades, and he's one of my brothers. I love the man. He says, per Dan Raphael, Spence Crawford now has February 4th target date. Joseph, you've been reporting that for a long time. Credit to you, my brother.
Why doesn't Dan say hello in the chat? He's clearly here. He doesn't do any investigation or real reporting himself. Yeah, of course he's in the kitchen. He's by the stove.
Brother, he's a jackass. And once again, look, and far be it from me, Sean, when have you ever seen me cast aspersions to anyone in this business? Never. So, but Dan Raphael, he's always been a prick at all of these live events.
Of course he has been.
Okay, so he's always been an asshole. And now that no one wants to work with him and he's an independent contractor, I'm laughing my ass off.
Well, he's fallen into the trap, hasn't he? He's fallen into the trap, hasn't he? He's become another tabloid.
Yep,
what he's done.
That's it.
He's not reporting. He's just creating hashtags. That's it. Man, and he's clearly listening to you, Joseph. He's clearly listening to you. So, hello, Dan. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, just now.
Well done, you little thief.
Well, look. You'd call him a sausage, but I think he's a little too big for that.
No, probably a little chipolata, Joseph.
Dude, he's not a sausage. He's haggis at this point, brother. Come on.
That's a traditional Scottish dish. So apologies to anyone that's from Scotland.
So let me give an interesting story, and it's funny. I think I've told this once before on this channel, but it was a long time ago, so I'm going to say it again. I remember going to and covering for FightSaga.com. It was Adrian Broner versus Marcos Maidana in San Antonio, Texas. Right? And so it was an amazing fight. And so we were all there ringside. And so there's an intermission, and we go back, and Golden Boy has an amazing spread for everyone in the media. We had filet mignon. We had Caesar salad. We had desserts, cheesecake. We had all kinds of great stuff, right? And so we're all gorging, right? I'm there with promoter Artie Palulo. I'm there with what's his name from the Boxing Voice? What's his name?
Nestor.
Nestor.
The
Yes.
kid,
Yeah, him. And on the table right next to us was Dan Raphael.
one whole table.
Okay, so we're all gorging with steak, right? And mushrooms and asparagus and oh, dude, it's just a wonderful spread. And I look over at his table and he's eating a Caesar salad. And I look at Dan and I look at everyone else and I look at Artie and we just start busting out laughing. And I look at Dan and I'm like, hey, how you doing, Dan? You all right? Yeah, I'm doing fine. Sorry, brother. Sucks to be you, my friend. So yeah, Dan couldn't enjoy the fruits of his labor that night. He was on a strict diet. Not that it did him any good. But guys, at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the hardest working man in boxing, the young billionaire, YB. How you doing, brother?
Yep.
Budgie.
What's up, Cam? Hey, man. Bud Crawford got an opponent December 10th, Joe.
I'm sorry, whom?
Bud Crawford's fighting David Avenesian December 10th, Joe.
No.
Breaking news.
No, he walked away from this deal.
Pay-per-view.
I thought he'd be fighting Bob Arum.
No. Who's going to be the lead promoter on this event, young Bill?
Let me read it to you. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Oh, YB, the boxing insider. The boxing insider.
No.
He's come again. He's come again with painful facts, Joseph. This has been a terrible night, Joseph.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, guys, and I've been telling you this consistently, that the problem hasn't been with Heyman and Spence. It's been with Terrence Crawford. For some strange reason, they feel like they're getting jobbed in this deal.
Hey, Joe, let me read it to you.
Fucking serious.
Okay, young Bill, the floor is yours, sir.
Let me read it to you. Okay, check this out. This is exactly what happened. Terrence Crawford, Mike Coppinger says Crawford pushed to make Spence happen and was happy with the target date of November 19th. He hasn't fought since November and wasn't interested in being out the ring the entire year. When talks dragged on and the date was pushed into the first quarter of 2023, he signed for this. Terrence Crawford and David Avenesian have signed contracts for a welterweight title fight December 10th in Omaha, Nebraska. Crawford told ESPN streaming service is BLK Prime and will offer the pay-per-view for $40, $39.95.
Okay, so this right now, this is once again, when you look at the inexperience of his attorneys and his handlers, this is a terrible idea. Because now, when this pay-per-view tanks, can he now continue to rely on his last payday, which was $6 million to face Sean Porter? No, this dramatically decreases his leverage in these negotiations. How stupid can you be?
David Avenesian?
Like, how stupid can you be? This is going to tank, guys. Like, if you thought
David Avenesian?
Look, I just got the numbers, right? Because of my guy who's an entertainment lawyer in California. I got the numbers for Deontay Wilder, Robert Helenius, and they're not good.
Just over what? 200?
Okay, so if Deontay Wilder underperformed and did less than 100,000,
oh my days.
How the hell do you think Terrence Crawford and David Avenesian's going to do on pay-per-view? An independent pay-per-view that's not being supported by Fox, the flagship channel, the giant, the network giant Fox. How well do you think this pay-per-view is going to do on Fight TV?
Half the people aren't going to be able to even say his name or type it into the search bar.
This is the dumbest strategic move that Terrence Crawford could have possibly made at this time.
So
while you're still negotiating this fight, look, honestly, everyone's going to look at him now and say, you know what, 35%, that's awfully generous, my friend. Your pay-per-view just tanked and did less than 50,000 purchases.
This is not. This
is ridiculous. On BLK Prime, how many numbers? How much do you think it's really going to do? And this the thing, if it was money that was the problem in this fight, how much money are you really going to make for this fight, Joe?
Pocket change.
Oh my gosh,
pocket change.
You know what? Crawford.
And didn't he say? Hold on, Joe. Didn't Bud Crawford say he don't want to fight anybody but Errol Spence and Jermell Charlo?
Yep.
Oh my God!
But but that's Showtime now.
Oh my gosh! Once again, guys, this just is proof positive that is being advised by guys who have no experience in this business. Okay, because this is professional suicide.
Isn't Avanesian like 7th in the division?
Well,
like he's not even in a position anyway for it to be a mandatory.
More importantly, Sean, he is a non-ticket seller and a non-entity in the U.S. market.
This is the guy that turned down all of Virgil Ortiz's offer when he gave him everything he asked for.
Hold on, guys. Before we move forward, I do have to give a shout out to my brother, right? Want to welcome El Pinche Punch to the show. Thank you so much for turning up, brother. I thought I had lost you forever because of our last show. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. God bless you, brother. And he says, what does Fight TV pay-per-view cost? You know what? For Terrence Crawford versus David Avanesian, too damn much. Even if it's at $29.95, it's going to be too damn much.
Even saying 40 is showing that they just don't believe in this fight anyway.
Guys, this is terrible news.
When was the last $40 pay-per-view?
I'm gonna say this right now. Scratch the February 4th date. I don't believe this fight is going to happen.
Joseph, this has been a terrible night for talking about fights.
I'm so sorry, Sean.
You broke my heart. I know it's called. I know it's called WAWR Week Radio, but Jesus, I mean,
so we can look forward to Spence and Keith then, right?
Ryan Garcia's coming in light heavyweight.
I'm sorry, guys.
Terrence versus Spence isn't happening. Loma versus Haney not happening. What are you doing to me, Joseph?
I'm so sorry, brother. But once again,
I'm going to go and watch black and white fights tonight just to make myself feel better.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys.
Wow.
Like really, I'm so sorry. Hey, young Bill, how did Floyd Schofield do in the main event? I wasn't keeping tabs on it because I've been on the air.
Oh, first round knockout, Joe left hook, one punch knockout.
And there it is. Coach Ronnie.
Welcome to Golden Boy.
Look, he's got a lot of things to work on, but Floyd Schofield has the natural gifts to be one of the elite.
Yep.
And with Coach Ronnie's tutelage, he's going to get there. Let's just hope that Coach Shields and, well, Schofield's dad can coexist. That's the biggest problem. That's something to keep an eye on for sure. I've been noticing in the interviews, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, come on, dude. Come on, guys. And once again, we're going to give it to you straight. And one of the things that I love about Warwick Radio Chats, because when I'm a host, I don't really like to express my true feelings about anything. When I interview Gogi, when I interview Rick Glazier, when I interview Coach Ronnie, that's their platform on that day. Yeah, but sure. I love these dates because I can actually express how I truly feel. Guys, Floyd Schofield Sr. has already ruffled enough feathers that he's garnered a reputation of being a massive pain in the ass. Yep. And I'm sorry, I can't see Coach Ronnie. And once again, young Bill just ducked out of that. He doesn't want to be a part of that. Right? And I can't blame him, but I'm going to give it to you straight, guys. He has garnered a reputation of being a massive pain in the ass. And I can't see Coach Ronnie coexisting with him for a lengthy period of time. I can't see it. Because Coach Ronnie, even though he's very affable and everyone loves him in the business, behind closed doors, he doesn't put up with any bullshit.
No, he's about his business. I mean, listen, when a man turns down training Anthony Joshua because he won't leave his other fighters, you know his heart and soul's in everything.
Okay, so that's the skinny, right? Yeah. And I'll be very surprised if Coach Ronnie actually stays with Team Schofield for longer than 3 or 4 fights.
Well, hopefully, the legend that is Ronnie Shields, hopefully the respect from Schofield Senior carries across, and we see more of that because watching the training videos that they're doing, he's looking really good.
Yeah, I
Well,
look at
I tell you what, though, guys. You know what? That's a sobering piece of news from
No, it's
Brilliant Bill.
disgusting. It's disgusting. It's
It's
bollocks.
disgusting, brother.
But
It's
Joe,
disgusting.
if you knew, you knew. You know, I mean, it was always in the
There's
air.
not there's
Look,
not
look,
one
guys. Look,
human
guys.
being on the planet that said David
Uh,
Navanissian in December. Let's be honest.
look, guys,
Nah,
and we've
a
been
lot of people
On
consistent.
knew.
Fight TV
And
for
look, like,
$40.
and look, guys, we've been consistent in telling all of you what the problem was in this entire negotiation, right? And this just proves it.
Yeah, Bud, because he's smoking too much of it. It's ridiculous.
So that's it, guys. So that's going to close us out tonight. I think we've
You see what I mean?
received
You bring
enough
us up and
bad
then you bring
news
us down,
tonight.
Joseph. Yeah, it's been absolutely terrible, Joseph.
Wait. We
This is
got
the last time
B-Ball
I'm coming on.
Ramirez. There's some great fights coming up.
I'm
B-Ball
sorry.
Ramirez.
Okay, we'll hang on. We'll hang on. Let's end this on a positive note.
Yes,
November
please.
5th, right? November 5th.
Yes.
Dimitri Bivol versus Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez in
Yeah,
Abu
man.
Dhabi. This is a
Yep.
great matchup, and this is a fight that a lot of people have been looking forward to for several years, right?
Especially
And
Zerdo.
now it's unavoidable. It's on the calendar. It's going to happen.
Can't wait.
Thank God for this happening in the Middle East, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay,
Well
okay,
done,
but-
Eddie. Well done, Eddie.
Well done, Eddie. This is
Yep.
a great fight, guys. This is a great fight. And so, Hyphy, who wins this fight and why, sir?
Yeah, with this fight, I'm just going for it. I believe Bivol is going to win. I'm just saying that based off of me watching Zerdo's last fight, which went hella under the radar, but it's just the fact he came in at like 204. That's like a 30-pound rehydration, and he just looked like big and just not fast on his feet, and that's just not a good style matchup to go against Bivol, who is good on his feet, and just even outside of that, I just think Bivol is more skilled, knows what he's doing, more of a technician. Yeah, so I got Bivol taking a clear UD in that fight, unless somehow, some way Zerdo decides to come in on only like 15 pounds, and we'll see.
Yeah, look. I think you have the beat. Look, if Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez wants to be the Golden Corral version that he was in his last fight, weighing in over 200 pounds, yeah, he has no chance of catching Dimitri Bivol. I think you're absolutely right about that. And great point, man, for bringing that up. Sean,
Yes,
do you see things differently, sir?
100% I do.
Let's hear it.
I've been following Zerdo now for a long time. I agree. The last fight was slightly unprofessional of him, no doubt. I don't know if he was trying to make heavyweight just to see if he could. But I've been
Lobbying for a fight with Usyk?
yeah, just like look at me, guys, I can do it. Like I don't know what was going on, but I've been following him intensely, and I tell you now, go and check out his social media and see the shape he's in right now. He is in beast mode. He is cut. He is ripped.
I love
he is
it.
ready. He is ready. He's been calling for this fight for years. Yeah,
Love
he
it.
didn't even allow any talk of them trying to get Buatsi. He kept pushing for that fight. He's got that fight. He's been active on social media, showing all of the training, the road works being put in, ice baths every single day. He is ripped. He is ready. He's got a chin like no other. He is very underrated with his in and out footwork. He has
Indeed.
multiple combos and a great pivot. It's going to be a fantastic night. And for the sake of the division and boxing in general, I hope Zerdo does it.
And there it is. And there it is, Frank. I tell you what, with what you just said, Sean.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this fight. November 5th couldn't
Yeah.
come soon enough.
I'm just a little added, just upset that Joe Cordina's not on the undercard because I was really looking forward to seeing him again.
Oh, jeez.
But
Yeah.
it was the right decision from the IBF. It was already pre-planned. It wasn't a harsh decision. So congratulations on them for keeping themselves to their word.
And there it is. And there it is. Frank, your thoughts on this blockbuster matchup?
Yeah, jumping on Sean's back, he got me hyped even more than I was. But as we're talking about these fights dropping, somebody in the chat mentioned Regis Zepeda, which is a good fight. But let's set the tone. This is the man who beat Canelo, so it's already big, right? Two undefeated guys. When do we ever get that? Two guys risking their
I
O's.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, the challenger giving him a shot. And you have to remember, B-Vol was going to try to fight Buatsi, but Oscar stepped in and made it happen. And that's Oscar's revenge. He wants Canelo revenge. He wants Zurdo to win because he's going to put a stranglehold on Canelo. Canelo will have nowhere to go. I'm a fan of Canelo, but he's in between a rock and a hard place if Zurdo wins. My mind says B-Vol. My heart wants Zurdo, not for the Mexican thing, but I want Canelo. Where's he gonna go?
Frank couldn't have been more frank than that.
Tell you what, couldn't get more frank than that. Very well said, Sean. I tell you what,
the
guys.
Best thing in the O has to go. Somebody's
I love it. I love it. Thank you
we
for
don't ever get this.
Thank you for ending the show on a bright spot, guys. Because it was
Don't remind us.
Thanks to our brother Young Bill, man. Boy, that was very heavy indeed. That's the last I'm going to say about it. But I will say this, guys.
His name as the Boxing Insider, 100% true.
Before November 5th, though, guys. Happy Halloween, guys. October 29th, we're going to see the return of Vasil Lomachenko fighting Jermaine Ortiz in your 12-round lightweight main event from New York. Madison Square Garden, right? And then also on that same evening from San Diego, California, Jojo Diaz versus William Zepeda.
Oh, another great one.
This is going to be a great night of boxing, guys. And so, guys, we're going to get the take of Coach James Gogi this Sunday on everything that's happening. Can't wait for that, guys. But on behalf of the always insightful Hyphy, as well as Sean and Big Frank, I'm Joseph Heron. You've been listening to Warwick Radio. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Peace.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away?